Hello, you connoisseurs of cool music. How are you doing? Welcome to Full Record Jacket with Phil and without Ben, unfortunately. But he's not back quite yet. But don't worry, he's like the $6 million man. We will rebuild him. But in the meantime, it's another monologue from me. And on a bit of a sad note, in a way, because these music stars, these legendary artists, they keep dying, don't they? There's been a few of them this year. The only positive about this is it does focus us back onto their music. Hopefully, we appreciated it while they were around, but obviously, when they've gone, it's the legacy that's left, and it's only right that we enjoy it and remember them for the talents that they were. Now, this one is all about Sinead O'Connor. Now, I resisted saying anything about her on the day or the days after she passed because I didn't want to look as if I was jumping on a hashtag to try and get viewers or anything. So I thought I'd wait until after her funeral had taken place just to pay a bit of a tribute to her as a recording artist and performer. Now, Sinead O'Connor obviously is a performer who courted controversy quite a bit throughout her career. She was outspoken and certainly a one-off. I don't really want to go into her private life or her struggles or her opinions and things that she said. I'm going to concentrate purely on the music. And in this particular video, I'm just making a personal choice. And we've got 7 Sinead O'Connor performances. And these are performances rather than compositions. Now, I know Sinead O'Connor wrote a lot of her own songs. She was an artist. She had things to say. And I do like a few of the tracks. Mandinka was her first sort of hit that really put her on the map. I still think that's a good performance. There's some great live performances of that as well. And there's one or two other songs. But on the whole, I must say that the songs that she wrote herself, for me personally, it's just my opinion, they don't really connect with me that much. I mean, if you're a Sinead O'Connor fan and you love her songs that she wrote, great. But for me personally, it was her vocal ability and her interpretations of other people's songs that are the ones that really stood out to me and really impressed me. Now, of course, talking about her doing other people's songs, the obvious one is the one that became her signature song, Nothing Compares to You, which, of course, everybody knows was written by Prince. Interesting history with that one because I get the impression that Prince himself, he wrote the song, he gave it to this group, The Family, who are one of these protege acts of his. I think they may have had a minor hit with it in America, but I don't think it was particularly successful. I don't think it did anything here in the UK. And then the song disappeared for 5 years until Sinead O'Connor and her producers revived it and, of course, made it into a massive hit. And not long after that, Prince started performing it himself. But I think he overlooked the song's potential. But that's not on my list because we all know that. So I've decided to go for 7 other performances, ones that we don't hear quite so often, which might cause you to go and dig them out of your record collection if you've got them, or maybe go and stream them or look them up on YouTube. I'm going to put some links below to these Sinead O'Connor interpretations. So let's count them down from 7 to number 1. They're in rough order. I've put them in order of my personal preference. And we're going to start at number 7 with You Do Something to Me. Now, this is an old Cole Porter standard, which she recorded as part of a compilation album. It was a various artists' charity album, which I think was for an AIDS charity. This was in 1990, I believe, and a whole load of different stars got involved in this. I remember Erasure did a version of Too Darn Hot. I remember hearing that. I think U2 were on this album as well. Debbie Harry and Iggy Pop did their duet of Well Did You Ever, and there were quite a lot of others on there. I think Nana Cherry and others who I can't recall exactly who was on this album. But Sinead O'Connor's contribution was this big band number that she based on the version by Ella Fitzgerald, which I believe that she'd known growing up. And it's a really good interpretation. It's very similar to the Ella Fitzgerald arrangement, but a Sinead O'Connor vocal. And there was a video to this that was filmed in black and white. It looked as if Sinead was singing in like a 1930s nightclub, and she had a blonde wig on. And it's perhaps one of the only times that Sinead O'Connor has looked glamorous, and it showed how if she'd wanted to go in that direction and and exploit her looks and doll herself up, she could perhaps have been an even much bigger mainstream star in the pop world if that's what she had wanted to do. But obviously, that wasn't really her artistic vision at all. But it's a fun performance, and it set the tone really for the next album that she made, which was the Am I Not Your Girl album, on which she did a whole load of these sort of jazzy, big band American standards mainly, and something that many artists were not doing at that time. She was standing out from the crowd, really. And I know a lot of big stars have done those sort of American standards albums in more recent years, but she was sort of just doing her own thing at the time with that. So You Do Something to Me, that's number 7. Number 6 is a song that all John Lennon and Beatles fans will know. It's Mind Games, title track of John Lennon's 1973 album. I think it's around 1990 as well that Sinead O'Connor recorded this. I can't remember now the circumstances as to why she did it. I don't know whether it was done for some other compilation or whether it was just a B-side or whatever, but she didn't have a hit with it. But it's a really good version. I think it's one of the best covers of a John Lennon song that I can think of. So well worth checking out. It really brings the song to life. And if you've not heard the John Lennon version in a while, it'll focus you back on this song. Really good version, I think, that compares well with the original. So Mind Games at number 6. Number 5 is a good old Irish folk song, and it's Molly Malone, and quite an astonishing version of this. It's sung in a very different way than anyone I think had ever done it before, and she turns it into a moving Sinead O'Connor ballad, and I think it works really well. And after you've heard this, you might not want to hear any other versions of Molly Malone done by people playing accordions in pubs. It's really good. So number 5, Molly Malone. Our number 4, or my number 4, Sinead O'Connor performance is one that I must admit I do listen to this every year in December, because it's Silent Night, her version of the classic Christmas carol. Really, mellow version, very typical Sinead O'Connor ballad performance. Really, brings out the emotion in it, and just really peaceful mood it creates, and really good. There's a shorter version, and there is also the long version as well. So I recommend seeking out the long version, and definitely worth a listen if you're making a seasonal playlist at Christmas time. So Sinead O'Connor's Silent Night is my number 4. So the top 3, what have I got? Well, number 3 is a country song that is another of those childhood songs that she heard apparently when she was growing up. It was originally done by Loretta Lynn in 1962. The 1992 Sinead O'Connor version isn't done in a country style. It's done in a big band arrangement, and it was included on her album Am I Not Your Girl. It was actually a hit single, I think, on both sides of the Atlantic. It got into the charts, and the Loretta Lynn version was simply called Success. The Sinead O'Connor version has an elongated title. It was called Success Has Made a Failure of Our Home. That's the lyric, and really good, I think. Quite outstanding performance. And the refrain towards the end of the song, Am I Not Your Girl, was used as the title track to that album. So Success Has Made a Failure of Our Home. a success as far as I'm concerned for Sinead O'Connor. Number 3 on my list. Now, number 2, anyone who knows me is not going to be surprised that I've chosen a Bob Dylan song. And I first heard Sinead O'Connor do I Believe in You when the tribute concert to Linda McCartney was televised on, I think it was on BBC. I'm sure you may remember Linda McCartney died in, I think it was 90, was it 97 or 98? I think it was 98. And I think this concert may have taken place in early 99, in the spring of that year. There was a concert at the Royal Albert Hall. I don't think Paul McCartney performed himself, but a lot of friends and artists who were fans performed at this gig, including Chrissie Hynde, who of course was a great friend of Linda McCartney. Struggling to remember now who the other artists were on the bill, but for me, the performance that really stood out was Sinead O'Connor doing "I Believe in You," which Bob Dylan had first done on his album "Slow Train Coming" back in 1979. It's a really good reading of the song. In fact, it may be one of those where I actually prefer it to Bob Dylan's version, one of those great female interpretations of a Dylan song. So I Believe in You is my number 2. Now, I have said Nothing Compares to You is not on this list. So what have I got as my number 1? What's my favourite Sinead O'Connor performance? Well, you know, Bono from U2 on the live version of Sunday Bloody Sunday says, "This is not a rebel song." Well, this one is a rebel song. It's not the U2 song. It's the Foggy Dew, which goes back, I think, to 1916, because it's all based around the events in Ireland of that year. And it's basically a folk song that is really a rallying cry to young men to join the Irish Revolution rather than volunteer to go and fight for the Brits in the First World War. So it's kind of quite politically loaded, and take that as you will. I'm not really listening to it because I have any particularly strong opinions either way on the Irish Revolution. I just think it's a really good performance, and it's just got a great folky Celtic Irish feel to it. And it's with the Chieftains. I should add, this is billed as Sinead O'Connor and the Chieftains, and you can find it on Chieftains compilations. I think it was on one of their albums originally. I believe the year was 1994 or 95 that this came out, and just a phenomenal performance by Sinead O'Connor. So I'm putting that as my number 1, the Foggy Dew. I'm putting links to all of these and videos where they exist as well below. What do you think of that list? What are your favourite Sinead O'Connor performances? Let us know in the comments, and I'll be back with another video quite soon. Thanks for watching.